Hi everyone, so I hope you're all having a great day. Today's video is going to be on a slightly different topic because it's something that I've been wanting to talk about for ages and that I've had a lot of messages recently from people asking about it or suggesting it or asking me to talk about it. And it's something that I am really apprehensive in talking about because it's such a controversial topic, and especially online it has a very kind of it has a strong online presence and kind of divides opinions a lot, and I don't want to offend anyone, and it's just something that I kind of want to talk about because so many of you have asked me about it, and that is about going vegan. So a lot of people will know, or maybe not, I don't know, that I am vegetarian. I have been vegetarian pretty much all of my life. When I was a kid, maybe I would eat like, you know, the odd bit of chicken or sausages or something like that, but kind of without the couple of times that I've tried as an adult to kind of maybe eat chicken or fish, and it's just not for me. I have never really wanted to eat meat. I am vegetarian, not pescatarian. I don't eat fish either, and that's not necessarily something that comes from a moral place, and that's something that's very difficult to admit and that people really struggle with. People always assume that if you're vegetarian that it's because you don't disagree with it morally, and while I of course disagree with kind of cruelty to animals in any form, whether it be in the cosmetics industry or whether it be in the kind of food industry, anything like that, of course I disagree because it's horrible, and I also try not to think about it too much, because if I think about it I then realise that you are essentially eating a corpse, and I don't really like the thought of that either. But it's not something that's come from a place of kind of me thinking that it's morally wrong. It's just something that's never really appealed to me. I don't like it. I'm quite a picky eater anyway, and the texture really puts me off. I can't even eat kind of meat subs that some people eat. So, you know how some people will eat like corn and just that kind of thing. I can't even eat those because it's the texture that I just find really off-putting and I don't like. So that's kind of my story of being vegetarian. But something I haven't ever spoken about here was when I was, I think maybe I was like 17, 18, I was vegan for, I think it was like 3 or 4 months. And it was after I'd read the Skinny Bitch book, which is a great book, you know, it's a great read. It's kind of quite sarcastic and tongue-in-cheek, and it's a fun book. I don't know how kind of accurate it is when it comes to kind of vegan facts, but it was a good read, and I read that book and I decided that I wanted to try and be vegan. I didn't go into it thinking that it was going to be something kind of super life-changing. I thought I'll try, I'll see how I get on, I'll see what substitutes I can make, and I'll just give this a go. And I did it for kind of, like I said, 3 or 4 months, and then I stopped because it just really didn't agree with me, because like I said, I'm a really picky eater, and it just didn't agree with me in that kind of my nails were getting really kind of weak. I started to have those kind of white lines in my nails, my hair was kind of coming out. I don't think I was getting enough of the nutrients, and that is absolutely 100% my fault. Being on a vegan diet, I do genuinely believe, is one of the kind of healthiest, not vegan diet, vegan lifestyle, whatever you want to call it, it's one of the healthiest ways to be. I truly do believe that, and I absolutely salute anyone who does it, because it isn't easy, but it is really good for you. But being the picky eater that I am, loads of the kind of things that I think a lot of vegans do rely on, so kind of a lot of like nut butters, avocados, even fruit, things like that, things that I'm not great with. And I, like I said, am a really annoying picky eater, and you know, I hate avocado. It is literally one of the worst foods in the world in my opinion. I think it's horrible. And nuts and me don't get along very well. My boyfriend's actually severely allergic, like to a point where if someone eats peanuts next to him, like on a flight, he can kind of have a reaction. So I don't like bringing any types of kind of nuts or nut butters or anything like that into the house, because I kind of just worry a little bit, and it's not something that kind of I particularly like anyway. Like I'd never just eat kind of, you know, a handful of almonds. I don't even like peanuts. So yeah, I am a picky eater. But in my day-to-day life, I don't have that much dairy. I'm not kind of big on milk. I'm not really big on eggs. I probably consume dairy in things that kind of you wouldn't necessarily think. So in breads and, you know, that type of thing. That's not to say that I don't eat cheese or ice cream, because I do, but not loads and loads. And obviously I don't eat meat either. Eggs, again, I'll eat kind of scrambled egg. That's the only type of egg that I can eat. I did used to eat eggs all the time. Now I'm not very good with eggs, but I used to eat eggs kind of, I don't know, a few times a week. Now it'll probably be a few times a month. Like I said, I'm picky. And that's something that I feel that people don't really tend to talk about, is that being vegan is really, really hard work. And especially online, I feel, and on YouTube and on Instagram and that kind of thing, it all seems to be, with like a few exceptions, it seems to be very, very extreme. It's a very extreme community where everything's really healthy. It's all, you know, homemade, I don't know, almond milk, and just things that kind of are quite extreme and not necessarily the most doable things for kind of someone in their everyday life type of thing. It's a very, especially on YouTube, to me, I always think it looks like a very kind of inspirational and aspirational type of lifestyle. I've yet to come across someone that I think kind of, yeah, that looks really doable, with the exception of Gemma from Gem's Maquillage, who started making YouTube videos, and she's gone vegan kind of on her other channel. Her videos kind of look really interesting, and that's something that I think kind of is important to stress, is, you know, you do have to take it seriously. You have to put a lot of thought into what you're going to eat, how you're going to plan your meals, and it's something that kind of, at the start at least, you do have to think about and you have to plan. And that was something that I really struggled with, because I'm someone who gets very, very obsessive about food. If I'm trying to lose weight, or if I'm trying to be healthy or whatever, I get very, very obsessive, and it wasn't very healthy for me, because I was obsessing so much about what I was going to eat, what I could eat. That's 100% again my problem. That's nothing to do with kind of being vegan. That's something to do with me as a person. I was just very, very kind of obsessive and picky about it, and it just wasn't for me. And a lot of people always comment on my videos and suggest that I go vegan, and say that it's kind of, you know, time that I went vegan, and that will kind of solve any weight problems I have and anything like that. Well, I think that obviously it is a lot harder to be overweight when you're vegan, because it's generally a healthier diet. You can also have an unhealthy diet and be vegan. You can do that with kind of any type of diet, you know, and I don't mean diet as in like weight loss diet, I mean diet what you eat. And it's something that I think a lot of people have taken up in recent years, and it's changed their lives, and I'm sure it is something that's really life-changing, but it's something that I think is also important to stress, that it's not for everyone. And I think that it's something that you can't really go into half-heartedly. It's something that you really need to care about, and you really need to want. And maybe one day I'll be at a place where I feel like I want that. But right now, I'm not. And I know that that sounds really horrible, and there'll be people that will be wanting to comment on this video and be like, you're a horrible selfish bitch, you don't care about animals, you don't care about this, you don't care about that. And that's not it. Of course it's horrible. I'm sure everyone who eats meat cares about that, and that it is horrible, but it is to do with how much responsibility you're willing to take, and how much of a choice you're willing to commit to. And it isn't for everyone. It isn't easy, and that's something that I think that people really struggle with, especially when a lot of kind of the vegan presence online, and even people that I know in real life, it does tend to be quite militant, which I find really, really off-putting, because like I said, I've been vegetarian all my life, but I never care about what other people are eating, and I would never ever dream of kind of commenting on what someone else is eating, like, oh, don't you feel bad that you're eating like a helpless animal's leg? I just wouldn't ever say that, because it's not my judgment to make. I do me, I care about what I do. What someone else does is absolutely up to them, and I think if someone wants to educate themselves, they will. They don't need someone else to come and do it. And I understand that a lot of kind of the vegan community online wants to educate people and wants to make people aware of things, and that is really great. But I do think that there are ways to do it that are not so ramming it down people's throats, which I feel like a lot of the kind of online vegan community does do, and I think that's where it kind of gets a bit of a bad name from, and that's really a shame, because not everyone who chooses to be vegan is like that and cares what other people eat and wants to talk about it 24/7, but the few who do, I feel, kind of ruin it for the community as a whole. And my kind of premises behind this video was to just talk about kind of my experience of being vegan and what I kind of think about it. And like I said, I think it is probably one of the healthiest ways you can eat. I think it's really good for you. I think it's really good for the environment. I think it's a really, really important thing to do. But for me personally, it wasn't for me. It was too complicated. I was too obsessed with it, and it just became a little bit restrictive because I'm such a picky eater. So for example, like a lot of people say that, you know, Indian restaurants are great to eat out at if you're vegan, but I really don't like Indian food. I never eat Indian food. I'm a really fussy, ridiculously picky eater, and I try and work on it. I try and try things that I don't like and make myself like them. I don't. I'm picky. It's not a good thing. I think kind of all my siblings are quite picky, and I think kind of maybe my mum's allowed us to be picky, but we just kind of, yeah, there's loads of things. Like, I'm not even the pickiest eater out of all my siblings. My sister, who's 17, is like the world's pickiest eater. She eats about 5 things in the whole world. And so yeah, I don't want this video to become controversial. I do not wish to offend anybody, and I'm asking as well in the comments to please, you know, share your vegan experiences, share things that you've found that have helped you. You know, I'm not opposed to trying to kind of eat vegan foods and to try and kind of, you know, minimise as much as I can eating dairy and eggs and all that kind of thing. It's not something that I think that I would struggle with, but the kind of total whole vegan lifestyle isn't something that at this moment in time is for me, because it's just not something that I feel passionately enough about. And I know that that's a kind of bad thing to admit, but honesty is absolutely king here, and I just think that you have to be really into it and really interested and really want it. And I was like that when I started to be vegan, and it just wasn't for me. It was too hard, and I know that that's like a really whingy, spoiled brat thing to say, but it was too hard. It was hard for me, and it made me unhappy because I was just constantly thinking about, oh my god, what am I going to have for dinner today? I'm going to have to think of something. Whereas kind of a person who just kind of, you know, isn't a picky eater could probably just whip something up and be fine with it. I really overcomplicated it as well, which was my fault. But I don't want people to kind of go into attack in the comments and write these big, massive, long essays about how, you know, being vegan is the best thing ever, and how this industry is awful and that industry is awful, and kind of shaming people about what they eat, because I just don't think that that's necessary, and I don't think it's very nice. So I would really appreciate it if you didn't do that in the comments, because I don't want that to kind of be what this video is about. I'd love it if you could share kind of your vegan journey, kind of what made you go vegan. If you're just vegetarian but you're trying to kind of cut back on certain foods, then that would be really interesting. And I just wanted to kind of talk to you about it, because a lot of people have been saying to me, like, you know, you need to go vegan, you need to go vegan. And I kind of wanted to say that as much as, you know, like, it was only 4 months and that's not very long, I was vegan for a little while, and that was my experience with it. It kind of wasn't really for me, and, you know, that's not to say that I wouldn't ever try it again. Maybe I would, but I just don't feel that strongly about it, and that is something that, you know, maybe makes me an awful person. I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to share that with you because, like I said, so many people have been asking me to. I apologise if anything I said has caused offence to anyone, but let's please try and keep the comments nice and supportive of each other, and not kind of criticising each other for what we eat, because it's not necessary really. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to know your thoughts down below, and I will see you next time. Bye.